Tonight, we are going to become Victor Marxists. That's right. There's a new Marx in town, and he knows Cajun karate. And I'm not entirely sure what that means, but he's very good at it, probably. Allegedly. He's probably used those deadly fighting meat Muppet manipulators of his to kill some men with his bare hands. So if none of you know who I'm talking about or what I'm talking about, we're going to be talking about Victor Marx, who is incredibly the GOP candidate for Colorado's governor. And he went on Piers Morgan, and y'all gave me a lot of subs and donos to make this happen, so I'm subjecting all of you to it. We're going over his interview. Yeah, as a quick primer, he claims to have done numerous Black Ops missionary missions to both save souls and save people, but he refuses to say how many people he has saved with his Black Ops missionarying. And he does have a best friend that he calls Buddy Jericho, and I do think that might actually be his name. And he also brought an attack dog and threatened the moderator of the last political debate he was in. He will not tell people how many men he has killed, but he alleges that his father made him kill a man at the age of 7. Doesn't think it's important if people know if he's killed anybody else. So you know what? Let's just jump into it. Let's jump into it. This is what I know about Victor Marx off the top of my head. Let's jump into this, shall we? Oh yeah, he also could not promise that he would stop doing exorcisms if he is elected governor of Colorado. So, next time you get demon possessed in Colorado, the next person who's exorcising you might be the governor. Is he Rusty Venture? Oh, God.
Too uncensored.
Good to be here. Just a point of correction. I am not an exorcist. I pray for people, but I am not an exorcist.
How would you categorize your...
I do have to say, I am constantly amazed at this man's complexion. Maybe it's just my monitor, but he looks like he's purple. Like the only other person I've ever seen look like this is RFK Jr. And I genuinely like, what is going on? Did he say that unprompted?
Your role in exorcising demons, then?
Well, it's not exercising, it's having authority over them. And as a born-again Christian, surrendered my life to Christ while I...
Oh my God. I don't exercise them. I'm just, I just can't do exorcisms if I need to. Alana Farrell, hi.
I was in the Marine Corps back in 1986. I received, like any Christian who yields himself, the power of God's Spirit, and I believe the truth of God's Word, that He has given us all authority.
I do want to see this man demonstrate his Cajun karate skills. I have no idea what that looks like. Cajun karate. What is it? Can I get like a video? Because I feel like
Cajun karate. It's actually a Louisiana thing. I don't know if y'all knew that, but this is not actually learned in a dojo. No, this is pretty much learned at a bar, a local bar, or at a family reunion like that.
This has to be a bit, right? I genuinely can't tell.
Y'all got black belts in karate? T-boy, we got black pots. People are like, what degree black belt you in? I'm like, partner, I'm in a 5th degree black pot, me. And I guarantee a lot of y'all familiar with that Cajun karate.
What does that mean? This does feel like a hate crime. I think it's parody. This was genuinely like one of the top results when I Googled a video of Cajun karate. I'm not even kidding. It's Jeff Crothers John Oliver and this video. Cool.
Cajun karate? Is this an episode of Ranma 1/2?
I don't know. It feels like a bit, but this man professes to be a black belt in Cajun karate, so I thought maybe there'd be a video of him doing it, but okay. Also, Coder Joe, thank you for the 5-tier wood subs.
For the demonic. So I simply pray for people who have struggles, but like I've told other interviewers, you know, the catchphrase exorcist, a Catholic priest wouldn't call me an exorcist. I think they're the only ones that can carry that title.
Okay, so it's just the technicality that you're not Catholic that prevents you from calling yourself an exorcist? Awesome. Awesome stuff. I love that we are like 2 seconds into this, he's already playing like semantic games. Because he knows being called an exorcist makes him look like a wacko.
Well, I'm a Catholic, so I mean, what you're purporting to be capable of doing is pretty similar to an exorcist. You know, what I thought would be interesting for the purposes of our viewers who don't know you, Victor Marx, is I don't think I've ever seen a candidate to be a governor.
Your Cajun karate is no match for my Quebecois Aikido. This is already so silly.
Who has so many extraordinary stories swirling around about him. And I thought in the interest of fair play, we'll just go through these stories and we'll try.
Here that vid is hilarious. Super serious. It's how we fend off the gators in the Atchaphalia.
I genuinely can't tell if you're like pulling my leg or not. I genuinely can't tell. I think I'm just gonna err on the side of I think y'all are messing with me. No, guys. Victor Marx didn't make up this martial art, okay? You guys are being really unfair to him. His dad made it up. Totally different, okay? He didn't make it up. His dad made it up. So it must be real.
Establish
It was passed down from Marx to Marx, all the way from Karl himself.
whether they're true or not. And on the particular point of the exorcism, for want of a better phrase, in a 2023 podcast,
I keep hearing spicy karate law.
you recounted a story where your dog apparently sensed a demonic presence near a swimming pool, prompting you to step in and cast out 5 demons from a woman. Is that true?
I would say it's not characterized correct.
What? I'm real sorry. You're gonna have to break that one down here. Your dog sensed demons when you were at the pool, and so you walked up to a random woman and cast 5 demons out of her. That sounds... I'm sorry. If I was that woman, that would be scary as fuck.
But let me ask you this for context. Do you personally believe in evil as a Catholic?
Sure.
Okay. So I do believe animals can sense things in people or evil spirits. I do believe that. But I have a trained canine.
How spicy is that Cajun karate? Does it at least have cayenne pepper?
I mean, I have to imagine one of the signature moves is reaching into your pocket for, no one ever expects the cayenne sand attack.
Who was tracking on a fella and a young lady across the way. I never stepped into the water, but I actually visited with them. I just walked over, started conversation, and it eventually led to me asking this young woman, hey, do you want prayer for anything? Because I pray for people all the time. And she actually...
Number 1 rule for MAGA tribe: never back down, no matter how insane.
I have to ask, is he about to say that this woman said, you know what, Victor Marx, I have 5 demons in me, please pray.
She broke down in tears and said, yes, I really need prayer. So I prayed for her.
Pocket cinnamon.
Pocket cinnamon?
And we do believe there were 5 assignments, 5 demonic assignments against her.
What?
And when we were done, which was a short time, there's nothing.
Okay, so he is saying he sat down and prayed with this woman, and she was like, "I got 5 demons in me. Please pray them out."
Nothing drastic. There's nothing Hollywood. It's just me praying for someone. She felt relief, and that was great. And I went back to the other side of the pool with my dog.
What's the name of your dog?
Reagan. Reagan was our dog on that one. Yeah. And
That makes a lot of sense. Reagan would be good at sniffing out demons, considering, the soul of Reagan is currently intimately familiar with them.
she was with us.
Which one, sorry?
In Iraq. Her name is Reagan. She was with us in Syria and Iraq. Yeah.
So named after Ronald Reagan?
Yes, sir.
You transed Reagan, huh?
So
I
a
served
dog
under President
named after
Reagan when I was in
Ronald
the Marine
Reagan.
Corps. Yeah.
Okay, and I love Ronald Reagan, but just to be clear, your dog Reagan, named after President Ronald Reagan, alerted you to the presence of demons inside a woman by a swimming pool. You go over and you pray with her in a way that removes those demons from her. Am I understanding the story correctly?
No, I would say my dog keyed on what I thought was the fella when my dog, because she's trained.
Reagan's
She's a
middle
tier
name was Jelly
What?
Beans.
She's trained? You demon trained this dog?
That's nothing. I got 7 in my asterisk.
No,
Right now I am
stop.
told that's the max Capic T, much like 5 Barbie dolls.
It is much like 5 Barbie dolls, indeed.
one dog, and when she keyed up with the low growl, I thought, what the heck? And because we're involved in counter trafficking, that's what I went over there for initially, to make sure that she was okay. And the fellow was uncomfortable with me, but when I asked her, is she okay, and that
The fellow was uncomfortable with you, a strange man coming over to offer to pray demons out of the lady he was with. I can't imagine why.
I prayed for people as I entered the conversation. Would she like to be prayed for? She started crying and said, absolutely. So that was the situation. And later, as I thought about it, I thought, I wonder if my dog picked up.
Also, Paladin, we need a sequel where John Constantine runs for governor of Colorado. You have no idea how fast I would buy those comic books.
That this woman was oppressed by evil.
I mean, it's a pretty extraordinary thing, and then a pretty extraordinary power that you appear to think you have. And it is, with all due respect, that is exorcism, what you're talking about. So why would you quibble with the characterization that you're an exorcist? If you're going around removing demons from people, you're an exorcist, aren't you?
Well, I think it's semantic.
Yeah, it is semantic. But also, I am wondering if Victor Marx, because I don't know much about his background other than he is, obviously evangelical Christian. I'm wondering if he's one of those types of evangelical Christians who are like, Catholics are of the devil because they pray to saints and Mary and not Jesus. I am wondering if the reason he can't call himself an exorcist is because he hates Catholics. That is a valid question to have here.
But in the way of removing demons from inside of a person, I don't do that. I deal with people who are oppressed, and there's a significant difference. Someone who has a demon inside of them.
I love that his distinction is I deal with people who have demons on their shoulders, not people who have demons inside their skin. It's very different.
Which would be called possession. I don't deal with that. I deal with demonic influences that oppress people. And believe me, the net outcome is the same of someone suffering in so many ways if they're believing lies and then acting upon it. I think that's where so much of the ills of today.
No, Comrade Girl. He doesn't care about people who are oppressed by other people. He just cares about people who are oppressed by demons. Very important distinction.
Come from. Because the Bible says, take every thought captive, and most people don't. So these are just thoughts or fiery darts. In the book of Ephesians, it talks about that. how we have to put on the shield of faith. We have to be ready to battle against evil, but the battleground is definitely in the mind.
How often does Reagan sense people with demons?
Also, I do have to say it is very funny for him to be denying being an exorcist. When, again, the little girl from The Exorcist is also named Reagan. It's just funny. The parallels just are very funny.
Oh, that was the only time that my dog keyed up on an individual, the male, that I thought was possibly a trafficker.
The battleground is in the mind, an infowar, if you will.
So that was it.
Okay. Well, talking of trafficking, your official campaign website initially said that your non-profit All Things Possible Ministries had rescued more than 45,000 women and children from human trafficking and global terrorism. And additionally, you claim to have single-handedly intercepted human smugglers at the US-Mexico border and made them pay a price. Now, when journalists pointed out these numbers were entirely unsubstantiated, your team quietly scrubbed that figure from the website, and you've since refused to clarify the exact number for security reasons, saying...
Well, I guess people can send trophies on the vertical chat now over on YouTube. Thank you for the 1,000 jewels. I appreciate it.
It was more than one and less than a bunch, but obviously 45,000 is an enormous bunch. So, I mean, how many people did you actually rescue?
Well, we'll start with the assumption that we quietly scrubbed it. That was not it at all. I had a website for over 20 years with our ministry. I have over 3 million followers on all my social media platforms. I have never said that we rescued 45,000 women or children anywhere, verbally, videos, 20 years of documentation, or my main website. When we had an independent contractor put together a campaign website, actually rather quickly, he himself, not by our direction, he put in the word rescued 45 because he just doesn't know us in that sense.
Oh, okay, but where did the figure of 45,000 come from then, sir?
Versus save, help. And when we found out, it was changed quickly because that wasn't accurate. So I've never claimed that. That would be highly inaccurate.
So how many did you rescue?
The reason I've never said the exact number was for security reasons.
Oh, God.
And
God, fuck. I just give a number. He said this in the last interview with Kyle Clark, too. He was like, if I gave you a number, it would compromise security. Like, come on. Mac from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is running for governor of Colorado on the Republican ticket. This is the worst. This is, like, I know that this is all very funny, and I am happy to laugh at it. But, like, just for a split second, I'm letting, like, the existential horror of it wash over me. Because, like, man, you guys want this guy to run your state? The entire Republican Party in Colorado wants this guy? And, like, he's like, oh, yeah, we had a contractor say I rescued 45,000 people, but we had that removed because it's not accurate. Well, how many people did you rescue? I'm not at liberty to divulge that information, sir. Like, what?
we still do work in the Middle East. And I would say this, and my wife...
I do have to say, this guy looks like the most obvious... This guy looks like if you had to imagine someone on television after 2 a.m. selling you fight milk from Always Sunny, it'd be this guy.
He told me one day, Victor, just tell him your heart. It's not enough. And that's really the main point, that there's too many women and children that are still suffering that should be rescued, that, justice should happen to those who take advantage and sexually exploit women and children.
Well, I agree, Victor, but if I gave you like a parameter of, 10 people, 1,000 people...
He saved 4.5 people. Don't ask how I got that figure.
Indeed. It was a magician's trick that went horribly wrong. Lavender Dragon, thank you for jumping over to the Riverboat site. Appreciate it.
10,000 people, 45,000 people. I mean, how many are we talking in terms of the broad area?
Well, I would say this. Way back around 2017, we stopped counting at about 300. And we never brought that number higher. Been the higher and including threats from ISIS. And again, this is documented. We have generals in the Iraqi army. We've got generals in the Pentagon. We have people that understand our work.
You've got generals in the Iraqi army? Care to elaborate on that?
Former Delta operators, former SEAL Team 6 guys. But just for clarification, rest doesn't mean I'm rappelling upside down from a Black Hawk with a K-bar in my mouth like Rambo. It's facilitating, it's working with teams. Sometimes it's a 6-month plan. Just like the last one that my wife and I actually did personally were involved in, rescuing a girl who had been held captive for 9 years in Syria. And she had 2 boys that were products of being raped by ISIS. And we rescued all 3. It's documented. But
it's documented. Where can we see the documentation on this? Please. No specifics, just generals. I see.
But
yeah, the people Victor Marx saved go to another school.
I'm open to scrutiny because I'm running for office, but I would hope people would understand that we still do the work. We're still helping those who are struggling.
I think people are just trying to get to the. I think people are just trying to. Yeah, look. I think people are just trying to get to the cold, hard, factual reality behind some of the claims, because, as you say, an independent outside body appears to have come up with this figure out of nowhere. But just to be clear, that 45,000 figure is nonsense, right?
Oh, it is. We've never said that.
Okay. I want to move to.
He gets like such a glassy smile on his face. Like he looks like he's just projecting himself out of his body, to fight demons. Petrazi, thank you for the membership. Akumi, thank you for the $5 dono.
This story about you calling in a military airstrike as a civilian. You assert that during your time working as a self-styled high-risk humanitarian in conflict zones, you personally called in a U.S. military airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters. Is that right?
Well, you're probably getting your talking points from someone who reported on this, who actually...
Oh, is he going to be salty about Kyle Clark?
...is not factual. So I never said that I have called in a U.S. airstrike. What I will share, and it's, again, this is...
He hates Kyle Clark so much. Colorado's top newsman.
It's the simple factual truth of the areas that we would work in as teams, oftentimes in advance of other operations.
I am no fan of Piers Morgan, but Mr. Spicy Karate is so bad that Piers comes across in a positive light. Jesus.
Well, this is kind of like that time Ben Shapiro was interviewed by I forget what his name was, but a very conservative UK journalist. And like, journalists in the UK suck, but in a very different way from how US mainstream media journalists suck. And journalists in the UK, Andrew Neil, thank you, Comrade Girl. Because they'll ask actual questions that real people would want to know the follow-ups. And Piers Morgan can do that. He can apply himself when it matters, but most mainstream journalists in the US just don't do that. Yeah, when you put up a guy who's full of shit against even a halfway awake UK journo, even if he's a conservative one, you can still get ripped apart. And that's kind of what's happening here.
Teams, we were able to give actionable intelligence to the coalition forces in northern Iraq of where the enemy was, and sometimes great specifics and detail. We would give that information. We would let them know that air support would help. A friend of mine, Dave Eubank, he talks about calling in air support for smoke. when he rescued a little girl named Dumar, for us, we definitely gave information, again, to coalition, not U.S. Air Force, but coalition forces that was intel, and there were times they acted upon it, and bad people, got their feelings hurt, which is fine by me.
So just to be clear, you've never.
By the way, he does have a way of saying bad people got their feelings hurt as a euphemism for, getting like killed.
Claimed that you called in an airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters.
I've never claimed that I called in a U.S. airstrike. I passed on intelligible, actionable intel of where ISIS fighters were, and then they responded on their own. And look, people who've done work overseas, specialized asymmetrical warfare, understand that civilians can call in or pass on information, and oftentimes airstrikes or air support, it happens. So it's not that big of a deal, but it's not me sitting on a hill.
Yeah, it's not you sitting on a hill, but it is you passing on information to get people blown up. That is what you are alleging happened.
As a forward observer,
they don't call airstrikes on, we heard it from a guy. Nah, but we didn't hear it from just any guy. We heard it from a Cajun karate master.
Calling in an airstrike, it's not like that.
Okay. Now, you've repeatedly claimed that when you were 3 years old, you were forced by your abusive stepfather to behead a cat and then wear the dead cat's body on your head. There seems to be no external evidence to support this, and many people have pointed out, how does a 3-year-old child behead a cat? They wouldn't have the physical strength to do that. Did that actually happen, Victor?
Well, if you ask me if I'm a liar, the answer is no. And the reality is, as a child, it was a horrible season of my life as a kid and the abuse that I suffered.
Yeah, he alleges quite a bit of extreme abuse from his father.
The cat, I had only shared that publicly a couple of times because it's so severe. But I did share it on the Sean Ryan show. It was the number 83 episode. Millions listened to it, and the purpose is I was willing to share everything I could remember and what I'd gone through therapy for in order to help those who had struggled. Now, if you want specific details,
this guy, I want to really emphasize here. This guy isn't just running for governor in Colorado. He won the Republican primary. There were sane Republican options available, and the Republican electorate in Colorado chose this guy. He won.
Look, when you're abused as a kid, you'll do about anything you're told to do because of fear. It's a grooming issue. But the cat was already, his entrails were out, and my abuser helped me just take the head off of a dead cat. The cat's head was never put on my head. It was the carcass for a short amount of time I think he had some voodoo ritual.
Remembering the
I'm not
specific
sure, but
podcast episode you talk about this stuff feels a little odd to me.
Yeah, all of this feels a little odd to me. Okay, so your dad put the cat carcass on your head to do a voodoo ritual. Okay.
It was evil. And I was tied to a bed for the better part of all day by one arm. And I was exhausted and terrified as a child. And later he let me rinse off in the shower. I have never said that to be sensationalized. I'm in my 60 years old. I started sharing that in my late 50s because I just didn't want people to feel alone when they've suffered extreme abuse. Just yesterday, I'm at a park for a campaign deal. A lady walks up to me and she goes, "I heard you on the Sean Ryan show." She goes, "Thank you. I heard you years ago." She goes, "It helped save my life." She goes, "I suffered horrible abuse But those of us who know. I said, there's a lot of us out there. So I
just look, I don't know like, sure, maybe this guy was abused, but a lot of his stories just don't really add up. And there's a part of me where I'm like, I'm a bit upset because it feels kind of like he's trying to take advantage of other people who have been deeply traumatized and hurt. And, maybe that's unfair of me, but like, he's taking donations from folks, He's taking their money. He's running to be in charge of a state, and he's refusing to like give specific citations for any of his claims. And they're pretty big claims. And like, that I think is a big issue.
Okay, but just to be clear again, Victor, but just to be clear, how did you behead the cat's head? What did you use?
It was like a large butcher kitchen knife, and the cat was dead, and the abuser held my hand, helped me cut through the neck, and that was it.
I mean, if you're 3 years old, though, how are you cutting a cat's head off? That requires a strength, which I've got 3 sons. None of them would have had the strength at 3 years old or the dexterity to cut a cat's head off. How have you done that? That's what people are finding a little bit suspicious.
I understand. If you put your hand around your son's hand on the knife of a dead cat, could you not cut the head off of it? Mm. It wasn't me.
I would say with great difficulty. I haven't done it, no.
Yeah, all I can say, Piers, is he forced my hand and to cut the cat's head off with a blade. I don't to say.
Okay. Well, this leads me to
This is so bizarre. Oh my god. My brain is going question mark this entire time. Yeah. The best tool in any UK interviewer is just awkward silence,
most contentious story, which is that when you were 7, the same abusive stepfather forced you to kill a man. Now, local law enforcement and sheriffs in the Mississippi area where this event apparently took place have said there are no records, police reports, or unsolved homicides matching your account from that time period. So just to be clear, what exactly do you say happened here? Who was the man? How did you kill him?
I didn't murder anyone because I was a 7-year-old who was forced to shoot a person. My stepfather, again, holding my hand around a pistol to a man who was handcuffed and on his knees, put his finger over the trigger and pushed it until the man was shot. I don't know who he was. Best I can remember, he looked like a homeless fella. I never said him. 40 years later. And out of just a horrible conscience, I contacted...
What? I'm sorry, it took you 40 years? Dog, what? Like, I understand, like, maybe it takes you some time, but like there's no evidence to support this whatsoever.
To the local sheriff department, and they said, where was the home? I said, I don't know, it was that night.
I think the first story was also he is alleging his stepfather made him kill a cat.
When he brought me there, who was the person? I don't know. There wasn't much evidence for them to open a case. And again, as a kid,
what happened to the homeless man's body?
There was a hole dug in the floor. It was a wooden house. There was a hole cut out and a hole underneath the floor, and he was pushed into it and buried.
Okay, so that seems like a pretty easy story to go verify.
So why can't the police just go and find it?
We have no location of where the house was.
What?
So you've no idea where this happened or who the person was. I mean, you can see why people might be saying, come on.
You don't know where you lived? The house, the man is missing, and now the house is also missing? Did this happen in the back rooms?
Victor, this really happened? Let me put it to you a different scenario, which is, and I don't want you to be offended by this, I'm just putting it to you because I know it's something that can be a phenomenon, where people, you said that these revelations have come out very later in your life. A lot of people, when they've suffered abuse or trauma or whatever it may be, their mind can play games with them. It can, persuade them. And I'm not saying this has happened, but many people find some of these claims outlandish, that perhaps your mind is playing games and that these incidents didn't actually happen, but that because of your abuse, you have persuaded yourself that they may have done. Is that a possibility?
Well, I studied, and the answer is it's possible. I mean, I studied false memories and had 123 visits to a trauma specialist. This is nothing that I wanted to go back to, but it's something that was still affecting my life.
I mean, okay, but like, this is the thing, right? If you are running to be governor of a state, you are running to represent and oversee millions of people and
In
their
fairness,
their
I
lives.
also moved when I was around 3 to 4 and I have vague memories of my first home but no address.
That's true, but this is also when he was 7. Like, by the time you're 7, you have like an address, right? And like, that's something to go on. But also, if you are sitting here being like, yeah, it is possible that these very extreme claims that I'm making, that I only started making when I was like 40 or 50 years old, might be like my brain playing tricks. Those are some pretty big tricks to play. Especially when you are being, like, when you are in the running for one of the most, like, influential roles in our government. Like, it just kind of seems like if these were real claims, he would be able to verify parts of them, right? He would be able to verify, his original home address. Maybe they could use that to then go track down wherever this cabin was, if it was a secondary location, and try and find this guy's body. Because, like, that seems like it'd be pretty important. Like, finding the human remains and solving, like, a decades-old cold case. Like, all of that seems like it would be meaningful and important. But he doesn't seem to be at all interested in doing that.
And, we live in a very evil world. Kids are abused, murdered. Kids are made to do horrible things. This is what taught me as a victim not to be defined by what happened to me, but actually to use this as a compulsion and for compassion for people who struggle, both children and adults.
Yeah, but you can do that. You can use, your trauma to, like, build compassion in that way, but that's not what's happening here. You're running to be governor of Colorado. You're not doing that to build compassion for traumatized children.
Adults. That's why I started helping those.
I live in Mississippi. Should I look into it? If you want to, if you you could verify his story. You could find the body under the floorboards. You could, like, maybe help some other family out there who lost someone they love, allegedly, to, like, learn what happened to their loved one.
Who have. So I understand that, but there's anybody who works, all you have to do is enter.
Colorado Department of Investigation got to waste their time with this fucking idiot? Yep. I think it'd be a worthwhile use of resources to verify the claims of someone who's trying to be governor of Colorado.
Interview a forensic investigator in child sexual abuse cases to understand what we're speaking about. Me, it may be rare to the audience listening. It's not rare in the sphere of the way kids are abused or murdered or have to see things. I worked with kids who were incarcerated, and the horrible things they went through, people wouldn't, if I wrote a book, I've got 6,000 letters here at our office. If people understood how horrible things are, I mean, you talk about the Epstein files.
I mean, obviously, what you're describing is absolutely horrific. There are people who, you've made a very clear statement to me in this interview that you don't tell lies. And what your critics say, about your veracity and your credibility is that even a simple thing like a political poll, for example. So 7 weeks before the June primary, your campaign issued a press release claiming a public poll showed you dominating the GOP race with a 44-point lead, 59% to 15%. Now, in reality, that poll was funded by your own political action committee, and in the end, you won the primary by just 0.5%, 2,500 votes. So clearly, the statement put out based on your own poll by your own campaign was, as we would say in the UK, a load of old baloney, wasn't it? So it flies to your credibility that you would allow such a ridiculous poll to go out, supposedly illustrating your great dominance, when in the end you didn't win by 44 points, you won by 0.5% just a few weeks later. How do you explain that?
Well, that's the great point, is I won. As far as the two different polls, you're talking about two different polls. There were polls on the internet. The one that came out by Signal Group, there
are polls in a club near me.
Bona fide agency out of DC, and they did the poll. I think what changed at the last minute is exactly kind of the direction you're taking. It's an attempt to smear.
Yes, I have watched People Still Live Here by Kane Pixels. It's very good.
My character, my background, and a lot of money was spent to do that by both candidates and the Democrats. So I think that definitely affected the election night.
Yeah, I mean, look, Victor, I don't know you. I don't know if you're telling the truth or telling a load of old whoppers. I've no idea. I mean, you have to accept there are a number of outlandish stories in your life that you've talked about, which when people have tried to investigate them, they run up against a brick wall, right? So I don't think it's unreasonable, given you want to be governor of Colorado, that people are going, well, hang on, is this guy the real deal? Or could he potentially have fabricated dramatic stories from his early years to portray himself as a victim and garner support? I'm just saying what you know that's what your critics say. I don't have a view either way.
Yeah, and again, anybody who's run for public office, I understand that, but I think people need to understand, for 40 years, when I've shared and helped people and the things that we've done, it's never been challenged or criticized. People saw it for what it was, someone who overcame, a horrible past. And by the grace of God, I would say good counsel.
Yeah, but this isn't the same thing as 40 years of you helping people. It's not the same thing as, like, you going up and, like, helping someone out to get to a local soup kitchen. This is to become governor of Colorado. It matters to people whether or not you're telling the truth. Yeah, it makes a big difference in whether or not people can trust you to vest you with this kind of public authority.
Counseling, faith, time in the Marine Corps to teach me resiliency, an incredible wife of 38 years, 5 children who are supportive, now 5 grandkids, that I actually accomplished what people hope can happen for someone who has struggled.
Yeah, but the problem is, when you talk about your accomplishments, you also can't point to anything concrete, right? Which just kind of makes this seem like a whole lot of bullshit. Like, you talk about helping a lot of people, you talk quite a bit about helping a lot of people, but when it comes to actually providing receipts, like, you can't. Come on, his wife loves him. I mean, that you know what? That's probably true. Good for them.
No benefit for me to come out in my 40s and talk about some of the worst things, or in my 50s. This was all well before any political campaign. And trust me, if I had political ambitions, none of that would have ever been brought out. So this is just me being transparent to help folks. And I encourage people, go to Victor2026.com to learn more. They can find out about really what matters and why I'm running is to help the people of Colorado. I mean, 76% of people polled by the Gazette said they're not sure if they can stay in Colorado. That's a tragedy. We're ranked number 2 for crime, property crime in the U.S. We're on the brink of destruction.
What?
And with the Democratic Socialist Party, just starting to barrel through.
We're on the brink. I guess Colorado's about to be annihilated, folks, by the forces of, I don't know, demons or something.
If someone doesn't stand and take our state back, we are going to become a California. And I'll tell you.
Oh no! You'll become a California, one of the most powerful economies in the world? Such a terrible fate.
That's the saddest part. Because as I travel the state meeting with people from rural to even Democrats who are holding fundraisers for me, it is a horrible place that's turned into because one party rule. And that's why I'm simply stepping in to take the state back. I told people from the beginning, I'm not the best candidate, but I beat 23 folks out. And I did it by never using smear tactics, never attacking other. I just was quiet.
Yeah, never used any smear tactics. Ignore what he just said about the Democratic Party right before that. He would never smear anybody except, when it comes to the destruction and annihilation of the state.
Quiet with all of this, all the way up to Candace Owens.
Yeah, I mean, look, Candace, as you know.
Yeah.
Well, Candace, as you know, didn't believe you. I saw that interview. She also suggested that you may have been part of some plot or cover-up involving Charlie Kirk's murder. You hit back at that, but recently said,
"Oh no, we're going full nutso. Oh no, oh god, I didn't know that he had done an interview with Candace Owens. That's too." An unstoppable force meeting an immovable object.
Wicked people wanted him, Charlie, silenced and rejoiced at his death because Charlie boldly proclaimed the truth of the gospel and was willing to expose darkness and spiritual battle between good and evil. I mean, who do you think killed Charlie Kirk? Because there are a number of conspiracy theories about this. Do you believe it's the person currently in court charged with his murder, or do you think something else happened?
Well, I believe in the rule of law and evidence. I don't believe in speculation.
What? You can't say that. You literally can't say that. You believe in evidence, dog. You believe in evidence. The entire time you've been on this show, you've been making unsubstantiated claims. You've been making unsubstantiated claims and then talking about why it doesn't matter that you don't have evidence for any of it. Now all of a sudden you believe in evidence. Shocking.
Assumptions get people killed in what we've done, so I wouldn't assume not knowing all the facts.
You're asking all the voters in Colorado to do that.
Present then.
I'm worried that Marx is going to lose. I hope he does. Oh, God. Anime Sidekick Gal, thank you so much for the $5 super chat.
But I do know this, that what happened with Charlie is the manifestation of evil. And people celebrating his death from around the world, especially here in the U.S., versus those who love him, it shows that wickedness and evil is real. And I'm a product of God's grace. And when I say I like to pray for people, my gosh, I mean, how does prayer hurt anyone? We bring relief from those suffering. And again, none of this became an issue for anyone until I stepped into the political realm, which I think is one of the most evil battlefields I've ever seen. And I don't think people are actually used to someone telling the truth or being transparent or caring for people. I've never had to defend myself about anything I've done. I've answered questions. There's a website called victormarxfacts.com. And
that's how you know it's the truth, because he has a website he owns that where he tells people what the truth is. And would people do that? Would people really go on the internet and tell lies?
We have documentation on there. There are people who are
Okay, all right. Victor Marx facts. Guys, would somebody with a website like this? Let me just check real quick.
If I were to quantify the number, I would be doing those I saved a disservice, but it's thousands.
Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. Very much appreciated. At the very bottom of this here, it says paid for by Victor Marx for governor. You know, it's just a factual website made by nobody with any investment whatsoever.
The good news is that Phil Weezer is the Democratic candidate for governor and CO. While he isn't a Democratic socialist, he's between liberal/progressive and no super PAC/IPAC.
Hey,
been a great AG.
You know what?
CO.
I'll take just about any liberal better than Jared Polis. Jared Polis sucks. He's terrible. But I guess we could start with the timeline. Documents and evidence. Does Victor Marx perform exorcism over the phone and charge money? Victor Marx does not perform formal Catholic exorcisms. He's more of an informal exorcism guy.
Give us the chance and we'll save 15 billion by the end of the year. My Cajun karate has saved souls across the galaxy.
Oh God, you know, I must confess a weakness to you all. And Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And that weakness is that if Victor Marx were to pitch like some kind of serialized adventure show, loosely adapted into a sci-fi setting of his supposed exploits, I would watch that. I would. He makes for very watchable television, but he shouldn't be anywhere near an actual like office of power. You know? Did Holly Chalmers accuse Victor Marx of human trafficking? What is this timeline? Oh, General Mike Flynn supports Victor Marx. Victor Marx was Charlie Kirk's mentor? Guys, what the fuck?
aggressively against me, but they're funded to keep me from being in office. And I'm gonna tell you something right now, Piers. I don't know if I should say this, but I'm gonna do it. I think one of the biggest reasons people are trying to keep me out of office is because I'm not part of the establishment.
And because of the demons. The demons don't want me in office.
I believe part of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party.
Yeah, well, he wasn't the great mentor because Charlie clearly never learned Cajun karate. And if he had, he'd still be with us today.
Are crazy and corrupt. And that's why I've done everything different from the beginning. And I went right to the people. And I still won't do what both sides do, but it's for this reason. What people at home think about, you know, is it really a level above? Yeah, it's about money and power. I've been able to see behind the veil. And
why am I in this? It's about money and power. Oh, okay. Like you are the Republican nominee. You are an establishment candidate.
And just gone, this is worse than people think. So when you have two candidates that I beat that now won't support me, and they're supposed to be Republicans, I just go, wait a minute, are you really Republicans? When I meet with Democrats,
yes, I love this. I am not of the establishment, but anyone who doesn't want me to be governor and who is a Republican isn't really a Republican. But I'm not establishment though. I do have the ability, not in like a Catholic way, but in a cool, informal way to excommunicate people from this political party.
Democrats who do a fundraiser going, you've got to help our state. But what we've developed is proprietary technology through a dashboard.
What?
That we have imported the budget and the 900-page bill, and we can show where the waste and fraud is. And that's what people in positions of power and money and
All
political
the
position.
bonkers Republican candidates would be incredible watches if they fundamentally weren't capable of sending us
Oh,
to
yeah.
apocalypse in both climate and policy.
1000%. 1000%. Like, Donald Trump is a funny guy, right? Like, he has like that weird charisma about him. And like, if he had just wanted to be like a reality TV show host for the rest of his days, he probably could have gotten away with that. But like, then he sought power and like has just been shitting everything up for the last decade. And it really soils the comedy. That being said, he was very good at Lindsey Graham's roast. You know, or at least Lindsey Graham's first roast, because obviously he's going to be roasting for quite some time.
Are terrified of
Well,
me
you mentioned fraud. Obviously, Barb Kirkmeyer, who was runner-up to be Republican nominee with only lost by 0.5%, he's openly criticised your character, calling you a fraud who doesn't tell the truth.
Yeah, she did, and that's okay. That's all she had. She couldn't attack my policy.
Don't worry, Spancom Cat. I'm sure he's also anti-Semitic.
Couldn't prove any allegations or lies, so it's just rhetoric that gets told again and again and again. But what's interesting is that without me fighting back, smear campaigns or anything,
You guys in chat talking about if Charlie Kirk had learned Cajun karate is really cracking me up.
I just simply tell the truth, tell people what I'm going to do for them. I brought in a lieutenant governor pick who's a 30-year retired colonel, and we're going.
Why would a 30-year retired colonel be good at being an attorney general?
A lieutenant
governor rather.
Pick who's a 30-year retired colonel, and we're going to take the state back for the people of Colorado. And I encourage people, go to Victor2026.com to learn how we're going to take it back and what we're going to do.
If you were to win, if you were to win, Victor Marx, would you order an investigation into the murder of that homeless man? Because you would become, I believe, the first governor in the history of the United States to have murdered someone when you were 7 years old, albeit you say it was with the coercion of your abusive stepfather. But it's an extraordinary state of affairs that this is an unsolved murder of a homeless man whose body is lying under the floorboards of a property. There must be, if there was a proper investigation, a way to establish where that happened and find out who that person was. If you were governor, would you order that investigation?
That's a great question, and it's a good question for a soundbite, Piers. And
I mean, if it actually happened, the obvious answer would be yes, right? Like, why would you not want to figure out this cold case? Why would you, even if you're lying, why wouldn't you just say yes?
I'll tell you this. One, this isn't the state that happened in, of where I was abused. And my goal is to help children never be put in that position
Bro
of being
read Task of Amontillado and made it his life story.
I just oh, well, it didn't happen in Colorado. Then work with the governor of whatever state it did happen in to open the investigation.
Sexually or physically abused. And that's why we formed a task force that we've been working to protect children for years now in the U.S.
Yeah, but the task force you formed isn't the same as a task force a governor can form.
Sam, but wouldn't you feel a duty? Wouldn't you feel a duty to the family of the homeless man or whoever that victim is? You're not sure if it was a homeless man or not. I don't think you could be, given you're only 7. But do you not owe it to the family of that victim? You talk a lot about victims.
We're so close to Tommy Wiseau running for office.
We are.
That's such a funny story. Piers, ha 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 ha.
My good friend, Piers. Hi, Johnny. We are don't speak that into the world, Sake Tanuki, because Tommy Wiseau might genuinely do that. There's a non-zero chance that that would happen.
To go and find out where that victim is still lying, where his remains are, and identify that person.
Thanks for bringing that up. And from my childhood till in my 50s, I lived with guilt over that.
Yeah, so maybe you should investigate what you alleged happened. What? Like, this isn't... The question wasn't about you. It was about figuring out what happened to the guy you supposedly killed. Like, that's... The thing that makes me doubt this story more than, like, anything is how this man that he supposedly killed isn't even, like, a person to him in any of his recounting of these events. It's just, you know, some guy this bad thing happened to. And it's just like, okay, but, like, you're alleging a murder happened. We should figure that out. What is this Cajun karate thing about? Oh, he has a black belt in Cajun karate, which is a martial art that his father developed.
And I don't appreciate you trying to put that back on me. That's every hint.
It's not putting it on you. You're running to be governor. It's a powerful political position that you could use to find out, like, who you supposedly murdered. It's an important thing.
I mean, do you have to try that as a reporter to make someone feel bad for something that happened?
It's not about your fucking feelings, man. It's about the fact that you're alleging a murder happened and you will want to be in a position of power. And it kind of seems like if you saw a murder happen, you should go and figure out what the fuck happened there because you owe it to someone else. Especially if you think that you, like, murdered this guy. If you're alleging you murdered this guy at the age of 7 under your stepfather's supervision, and you're like, oh, how could you ask me if I would use my power as governor to investigate and find the remains of this man so that he can be laid to rest with his family or whatever? Well, it's the fucking decent thing to do. Wouldn't you? Like, like, obviously you should want that. It's not about making you feel bad in this moment. It's about, if this did happen, are you at all concerned with trying to reunite the remains of this man with his family?
And the child abuse
yeah, to be honest, yes, I do. Yeah, Victor, to be crystal clear, my job as a reporter is to report news. You want to be the governor of Colorado. You have confessed that you took part in the murder of what you say was a homeless man whose body was then put under floorboards in a property in Mississippi. You say you were forced to do it by an abusive stepfather who held the gun with you.
Sir, a 7-year-old is not responsible. Look, we work with law enforcement, state, federal, and local. No one would put that on me. Listen, we...
Yeah, so, but at the same time, no one's saying we have to pin a murder on you, Victor Marx. They're saying, shouldn't you be more interested in trying to figure out, like, who this guy was? Do you not feel like there is some obligation for the government to, like, solve that murder and, like, reunite those remains with their family? Like, that seems like it should be something that's important for a law and order candidate who goes on and on about how many people he's saved. Like, this isn't about trying to make you out as a murderer. It's trying, because no one would blame a 7-year-old for being coerced into pulling a trigger when their stepfather is also holding the trigger. But, like, why aren't you interested in trying to, like, get these remains home?
Turned over we told the story, we told what we can. They couldn't find anything. I've done my part. My heart broke for it. I've lived with the shame.
Yeah, but the question wasn't if you've done your part up to now.
Law and order candidate? Gong gong.
Gong gong indeed. I missed my opportunity. You're right. God damn it. But Sake Tanuki, thank you for the 5 tier 1 subs. And the reminder that I need to be more on the ball with my There have been so many opportunities already for that, and I did not use them. But this isn't about if you've done your part up till now. It's about if you got elected into office, a position of even more power, if you would use that power to try and figure out what happened here. Because the amount of power you can exert over law enforcement as like a concerned citizen is relatively small. As a U.S. governor, it's quite a bit.
Name of that. And I've spent a lifetime trying to help others and prevent kids from being put back in that position of any abuse. So I think my life is redemptive. I'm sad for the evil. And the man who made me do that went to prison. And I was actually...
Where does he think the body went? He believes it is buried under the floorboards of a cabin in Mississippi.
I encourage people to watch my story on YouTube, the Victor Marx story. If you want to know the truth,
is he still alive, Victor? Is your stepfather still alive?
He is not.
When did he die?
He died a number of years ago, and after he got out of prison. And what I'm grateful for is the power of God to enable me to forgive him for the abuse that he did. And I was at his deathbed in the hospital and was able to forgive him. And that's one thing I want to tell folks. If you were a victim, the shame is not yours, just like you were trying to put on me. And it's
asking you if you would use your power as governor to find the remains of a missing persons who you allege to have witnessed die is not putting guilt on you. It's a pretty valid
question. We live
question.
in a timeline where Victor Marx and Nigel Farage are less serious candidates than Count Binface.
It's true. I wish I'm still a little sad that Count Binface didn't oust Nigel Farage, but you know, we can't have good things unless we get organized. Join your local Dems, join your local DSA, folks.
Important for people to forgive, to give up your right to hurt someone back. Go for justice, but forgive people who abuse you, or else your heart gets hardened. And that's what my story's about. It's overcoming the evil, because the Bible says what Satan meant for evil, God can return and redeem for good. And those watching, I hope you're never afraid to tell your story, to put down. I hope you're never afraid to be willing to step into leadership to help others. I wasn't. I'll never be stopped. The people will decide November, and they've already decided.
Yeah, exactly, Liz Galahad. Like, what about the homeless man? Like, what about his family? No thought whatsoever to these other people here he's alleging played integral roles in this tale.
June 30th, which is why I won the primary, and I'll keep pressing, again, for affordability, for safety, and for accountability in a corrupt government here in the state of Colorado that proves it doesn't care about its people like it says.
Yeah, I mean, all I would say in response to the incident in which a homeless man was murdered is that there's a victim there too, and that is non-solved murder. And I'm not shaming you. You've explained that you were
a Cajun take, but you don't actually have to forgive your abuser.
I mean, that's also the thing. You are under no obligation to forgive the people who abused you. None whatsoever.
Holding the gun because your abusive stepfather was holding it too and made you do it. And it's not for me to say whether that's true or not. I'm not shaming you for the murder. If you say you were 7 and coerced into doing it, I understand what you're saying. But I also understand that an innocent man was murdered. And that crime has never been solved. And you're big on victims and big on accountability, but no one's been made accountable for that murder. No one has found the body. There must be a property somewhere that has that body under the floorboards. And I think it would be your duty, honestly, if you become governor, to order a proper investigation so that people in your state can actually understand the truth and understand what happened and work out who this person was and what happened to him. I think that would be a good thing to do for his family, because he also was obviously a victim. He got killed.
Yeah, completely. I will say this. He was there to abuse me. He was there to abuse me.
What?
That's in my story. And he changed his mind. And I didn't wait till I was governor in order to try to seek justice. I went to authorities to try to find out and help them find out.
Yep, but as governor, you would have more power. But also, you should still want to find out who this guy was. Because again, if he's an abusive guy who abused other people, finding his remains and piecing together this story in a more full fashion would, of course, be a service to any other people that man that you allegedly killed may have victimized as well. Like, but also, man, this is getting convoluted.
Who this was because of the guilt and shame I lived with as a child, all the way to adult. So you're talking to one person that doesn't hide facts, that doesn't. I've had a life of overcoming, and justice matters. So I'm glad you said you're not trying to shame me as a kid who was forced to do something that was horrific.
Yeah, no one's trying to do that, man. But like, still kind of seems like when asked, would you use your power as governor to try and solve this case? You didn't have to go on like a 10-minute long tangent about this. You could have just said yes.
And 123 visits to a trauma specialist prove that.
I'm not, but Victor, just to be clear, I would like justice for that homeless man who was brutally murdered.
I would too.
And I think that you should want the same.
And I want to protect children so that they don't have to be abused. That's what I've been doing with my life. So I hope law enforcement.
No, I understand that, but I understand that, but Victor,
is no match for my Cajun karate.
I am waiting for that to come up. Like, there's no way this guy is not anti-Semitic as hell. There's just no way. I did want to bring this up. You guys ready for this? I'm pulling out the big gun clip from Kyle Clark, baby.
So I'm just asking you, how many people have you killed?
Well, if I did, I wouldn't be telling a reporter sitting here in my training center.
How about voters? Would you tell voters?
There's no need. I don't think that's important. It's actually it's an odd question to me.
It's funny you describe it as an odd question because you actually talk about the idea of killing people with some frequency and why it's a necessary thing to do, killing people. You said on NRA TV in 2017, now a lot of them just got to be killed. I've had them shoot at me and I had to shoot back. There's a time and place to eliminate the enemy and you have to. You said on Jeff Lerner's podcast in 2025, some people have to get killed. Some people have to die. But it's an odd question to ask you how many people you've killed.
Yes.
Okay.
Jesus Christ.
You claim that you once called in a U.S. military airstrike that killed 70 ISIS fighters. I didn't realize that civilians could essentially facilitate military airstrikes. Could you walk me through how that worked?
No.
This man cares a lot about facts. He cares a lot about facts and evidence. Why would anyone care how many men I've killed? Seems like a pretty reasonable question under these circumstances. Oh, he's very anti-Semitic? Holy shit. His campaign is using AI-generated material to depict his Jewish opponent as the great Satan looming over Colorado. Holy shit. Colorado needs strength. Colorado needs faith. Holy shit. Yeah, alright. Yeah. Yep. That's some anti-Semitism right there.
only one person was...
Look, it is a shame that we are probably never going to get a Borat 3 because holy moly, the election cycle for these midterms, we need a Borat-like moron to interview these conservatives.
Murdered that day, and it wasn't you. So the real victim of that incident was the person that was murdered.
Sir, part of my soul died that day. Part of my soul died that day.
Yeah, but
and I've lived with it a lifetime.
Yeah, but he actually...
And I told
I
law
understand,
enforcement...
but he actually died that day.
And I hope
and we don't know who it was or why he had to die.
Well, I appreciate your heart. Do you care for children?
Victor Marx, I appreciate you joining us.
Do you care for kids? Do you care for kids who are abused?
I do, absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
I absolutely
Glad
do
to hear that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But Victor, I thank you very much indeed for joining me.
Oh, some additional details about this this guy, and you know what? Just in case you're like, well, maybe Victor Marx didn't know about this. Oh, hey, there he is, Sean. That's exactly the point. We got one shot. If cool stuff. Anyway, Phil Weiser, his mother was born in a Nazi concentration camp. Just as an FYI. Holy moly. Yeah, this story, by the way, we covered this last time we talked about Victor Marx. This story is about his father, Carl William Marx Sr., born-again Cajun, cooks up Christian karate. After years of punching people, pimping prostitutes, and pushing his weight around Louisiana, gumbo gangster and bust-em-up bouncer Carl William Marx Sr. one day saw the light. Finally freed from a Cajun prison built of ego and pride, Marx stopped sinning, but he kept fighting. Only this time he was punching for the Lord. Teaching people the homemade brand of Cajun karate he cooked up and peppered with ample helpings of loving self-defense. Nowadays, Marx is saddened by stories of drive-bys and random shootings where innocent people regularly die. That's why, unlike the founder of godless Marxism, with whom he shares a name, and maybe even a distant family connection, Marx vows to spread the word of the Lord everywhere he goes. The best way he knows. Through a brand of 100% American Christian karate he founded that might cause some Christians to cringe. In Marx's good book, breaking noses for Jesus does not violate any of the 10 Commandments. Bad boys beware. Oh, God. God, I thought his dad founded Cajun karate. Yeah, his dad is Carl William Marx Sr. That's his dad. Oh, fuck. That's really funny. He'll literally chop the hell out of you. Ugh. Alright. Anyway, that's another insane Victor Marx interview. We got no further clarification on literally anything else, and yeah, we are no deeper in our understanding of this man than the first time we laid eyes on him. And you know,
He's like a real-life Bible man.
well, Bible Man practiced Cajun karate. Many people don't know this. He was breaking noses and, you know, hearts for the Lord. Colorado, what are you doing? Anyway, all that being said, folks, if you got anything out of this, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and do consider dropping those subs and donos because you guys make this show possible. Couldn't do it without your financial support. And also, folks, go check out your local Dems. Go check out your local DSA. If you need help, join our Discord. Reach out to GamerG for help with DSA. Reach out to Dragonfly for help with your local Dems. And last but not least, check out ImogeneOlivia.com. Gender euphoric lingerie designed from the ground up for trans femmes. Tested with cis men, cis women, non-binary folks. It is comfortable, sexy, non-tucking lingerie. Go check it out, ImogeneOlivia.com. Link down in the description. Let's keep on going.
Riverboat deck is coming to town. All the viewers gather round. Twitch and YouTube and swishy streams. All that content is bursting the seams. Politics, gaming, and plenty more. Your sense of fashion you'll adore. So grab your stuff and hop aboard. We're going straight to Jack's Discord. Riverboat Jack. Riverboat.